Hello everybody, and welcome back to a brand new video. Now finally, the price of bonds are starting to drop in price pretty quickly actually. They're already down to around 5 mil and dropping every day. So today I thought it would be prudent to maybe make a video on how to earn a bond in 2021, highlighting some of the best consistent moneymakers that you could use this year to earn yourself a bond. Anyway, as always, if you find these videos useful, don't forget to leave the video a like. It really does help my video get recommended to others. Anyway, let's get started. Now, first up here we have a method that has continued to be good through much of 2020 and even going into the new year, and that is crafting mud runes. Now, mud runes today are worth around 300 GP each, which means it's actually a very good moneymaker for rune crafting and one that is unlocked at a very low rune crafting level. You can see here that at level 13 rune crafting, you can make mud runes, and that's true, that's all you really need. But to do this more effectively, there can be other requirements. For example, having level 50 rune crafting is ideal to at least have access to the large pouch. You can see here I'm taking the large pouch and the medium pouch. Also having access to magic imbue is nice, but not by any means required. If you don't have magic imbue, all you have to do is replace the astral rune and one of your pure essences with water talismans. It's a bit more annoying, but it shouldn't really cut into your profit or XP rates too much. Now, as for what I have equipped, you're definitely going to want weight reducing equipment, a binding necklace which you can buy right on the Grand Exchange, a steam battle staff if you're using magic imbue, an earth tiara, and a ring of dueling. But one thing I would highly recommend you have access to is the dig site pendant, which will require the completion of the dig site quest as well as 49 magic to enchant it. So if you're like the majority of the population and have put off rune crafting forever like myself, it's a very good way to start training it, especially from very low levels. On top of getting around 700 to 800k per hour GP, on the high end you can get up to 30k per hour rune crafting experience, which is quite good. So here is an example run. We're going to use the dig site pendant to teleport to the dig site. From here we're going to run up to the northwest. Now if you're using magic imbue, when you get near to the altar, cast magic imbue, otherwise you don't need to worry about that. As we're going to go ahead and cast magic imbue, enter the altar, now run up here and use your water runes now on the altar. Empty your pouches, repeat that one more time, and then teleport back to Castle Wars. Now with my setup, one inventory netted us 38 mud runes, and you can see how quickly it is to run back and forth. Low level, profitable rune crafting training, I think it's a good method, and it's persisted through the last year or so. Now, one method that has surprised me throughout the last year is actually killing the giant mole. For quite a while now, it has stayed a very consistent moneymaker, and there's a reason for that. Exchanging mole parts for bird nests is a very popular moneymaker, which means killing the giant mole has remained a very decent moneymaker, even though there are pet hunters here and is actually very popular. Killing the giant mole can net you anywhere from 800k per hour, anywhere up to 1.2, 1.3 mil per hour, even sometimes higher. And compared to other mid-level combat methods, it's very easy. The requirements are actually fairly low when you compare it to other combat moneymakers. Now the most cost-effective way to kill the mole is by using the Duroc set. Obviously the Twisted Bow is better, but the Duroc set is like 500 times cheaper. So I think for most players this will work just fine. So because we're using melee, obviously the higher melee stats you have are the better. At the bare minimum, you need at least 70 attack, strength, and defense to wear the full Duroc set, which is required, although of course higher combat stats are going to be recommended. You also definitely need 43 prayer for this method, there's no getting around that, and of course a higher prayer level will make it a bit nicer. Optionally, piety is very useful, that will speed up your kills a lot. Now for gear, it's actually not too expensive as many of the slots are already covered by Durocs. So a Berserker Ring imbued, Ferocious gloves aren't really required, Barrow's gloves will work just fine. An Amulet of Torture probably makes the biggest difference. Otherwise a Fury or even a Glory if you're really cheap will work just fine. Now your inventory kind of comes down to your own personal preference, but as you're Durakian you want regular super combat potions, somewhere between 5 and 6 stamina potions depending on your agility level. You will have to run around a lot and run 9 or 10 prayer potions. Now the one item you definitely don't want to skimp on is the Falador Shield 3. To get this item you do need to complete the Falador Hard Diaries, but without the Falador Shield 3 you're going to have kind of a bad time. Now a spec weapon is very useful, Dragon Claws are the best, but to keep this more cost effective, Dragon Dagger works pretty well as well. Now you also want a light source, so either the Kandarin Headgear 3 or you can bring a candle and a tinderbox, that's fine. We also have a spade and a locator orb. Now the quickest way to get to the giant mole is just using a ring of wealth, which we're going to use to teleport to the Falador Park. From here, just run over here to one of these mounds and dig down. Proceed. And now, assuming you have the Falador Shield 3, it'll show you exactly where the mole is. Now you want to look around first because the giant mole is very popular. You don't want to crash somebody's world. So before you go do anything, go find the mole. Okay, so great, it's here. So you're going to drink a super combat potion. Use the locator orb to go all the way down to 1 HP. Alternatively, rock cake works fine. I just find the locator orb is a bit quicker. Turn on protect from melee and attack. Ooh, he said 98. Now, if you want to conserve on prayer, definitely flick piety. You attack so slowly that it really does save you a lot. I'm not actually very good at this yet, but you'll get the hang of it. Now, when the mole's under half HP, he will potentially run away, which is inevitable, and that's why we have the stamina potions. Okay, so if he runs away, just turn off your prayers so you don't waste them. Go find the mole again and just kill him. So there we go, first mole kill down, that was pretty quick. Now the reason the giant mole is so good is that it always drops mole claws and mole skins, and those on its own have significant value. Per kill you're getting on average 25k, and actually that one was more like 35k, that's actually pretty lucky. Just realized I forgot the spec last time. Just dump your specs into the mole. Now one last thing, for your Durox Axe, you definitely want to make sure you're not on Smash. The mole does have a higher crush defense, which means you definitely want to be on one of these options. You can see how this method can really pay off. Not to mention, you're also going to be getting combat experience, which means you're going to be training your account. And it has a really cool pet and, you know what, a Santa hat right now. So there is a lot to love here. Now one really easy, low-level method that continues to be good throughout 2020 and this year as well is making unfinished potions. Now this is really powerful because you can do it at a very low level. The main drawback though is you're not getting experience. That said though, you can make around 3,000 unfinished potions per hour, which means for every 100 GP margin you get, you're going to get 300k in profit. As right now we can see there's a margin that is close to 200 GP, which means that is around 600k per hour. Now to make unfinished potions, you do need to have herblore level requirements. For example, the Toadflax potion I just bought right now can be made at level 34 herblore, which is incredibly low level. Other good potions though include Cadentine potions at level 66, Avanto potions at level 50, but pretty much anything can be good. The method is also incredibly simple. All you have to do is withdraw 14 of your desired herb and 14 vials of water. From there, just combine them together and that is it. Each inventory takes a few seconds. Repeat that over and over again. Now to do this effectively, I would highly recommend either using bank fillers or just find a tab that is nearly full already. From here, you can also turn on the screen marker plugin for Runelight, which will allow you to be a little bit more efficient. Now, if you want to add in some bank fillers, come over here to the show menu button and click on fill. These will just add in filler spots you can use to move your items around to get them into the proper alignment. From here, it's pretty simple. Withdraw 14, combine them together, repeat. Now this bottom button here is the deposit all button, and assuming you have it positioned correctly over the bank interface, you can click once, click again to deposit all, click once on the vial of water, once on the Toadflax, hit exit on your keyboard. If you don't have that set up properly, come over here to all settings, keybinds, and make sure you have escape closes the current interface as selected over here. And that's pretty much all there is to it. Always make sure you check the prices of your items first before doing it. But a really good method that can earn you anywhere from 300k all the way up to $1 million an hour sometimes. Now occasionally you might find yourself in a bit of a bind, maybe just need an extra 500k for a bond or just need to make a bit of money quickly. Now a really easy moneymaker that has absolutely no requirements is making UltraCompost. Now last year this method actually was made more viable, and that is because the bind limit for Super Compost was increased to 2,000 from 600. Which is a significant increase and allows you to do this method for much longer. As with the previous method, it is important to check the prices beforehand, but we just went ahead and did a quick test here. One UltraCompost requires 2 volcanic ash and 1 Super Compost, which together cost 642 coins. Now right now we can sell them anywhere between 800 and 1000 GP each, which means per combination we can make somewhere between 200 and 400 GP right now. It's not always as good, but in general it is profitable. Again, it is incredibly simple and fairly AFK if you just have an inventory of volcanic ash. Now the volcanic ash is stackable, which means you can keep it in the top left corner of your inventory, withdraw a full inventory of Super Compost, use the 2 items together, and hit enter. It is a very relaxing method, no requirements at all, except for maybe a bit of money. Now in general, you can make somewhere between 2,500 and 3,000 UltraCompost per hour, which means for every 100 GP margin, you're going to be getting around 250k per hour. So right now we're actually looking to make about 500k per hour up to 750k, although I would say 500k is a lot more common. As the buy-in limit is 2,000, you won't be able to do this for more than 45 minutes every 4 hours, so it's not something that you can spam out indefinitely, but a really easy way to make a quick bit of money if you need it. Now in 2021, collecting Mormyre fungus is still pretty viable. Right now, if you're using one of the better methods, you can get around 600k per hour, but Mormyre fungus has quite a few different ways to do it that will give you all varying amounts of GP per hour. There are methods that involve using the Drayman staff, methods that involve using the Krill teleport, your own POH, or really nothing. Now one really simple mid-level route that I'm going to show you today involves using the Krill teleport in your house. That means you're going to need Desert Treasure, 66 Magic, as well as 50 Construction. Now to do any of these methods, you are going to need a Blessed Silver Sickle, which means you will need to finish the Nature Spirit quest. Weight reducing equipment, of course, always useful but not required. And having 50 or 60 prayer will make this a lot easier. You can bring a prayer potion to use the occasional dose, but I wouldn't recommend relying on it. So a very simple run would look like this. Teleport to your POH. From here, run to your portal nexus or just a portal room that has a Krill portal. Take the portal. From here, run a little bit to the west. Run all the way down to the gate and enter the southern part of Morytania. From here, run a little bit more south. And you're going to run down until you see this outcropping here. It is ideal to be surrounded by 3 logs. That will give you the most value per prayer point. Now, if you have the Morytania hard diaries, that's not going to be as big a deal, because you will get double loot anyway and you're not likely to run out of prayer points. But anyway, once you're here, you're just going to go ahead and right click on your Silver Sickle and cast Bloom. From here, pick up any of the funguses and then cast it again. One little tip I recommend is always take the top log last, that way you're in the perfect position to recast Bloom right away. Another useful feature you could consider is the Inventory Viewer plugin on RuneLite. That will allow you to know how many inventory spaces left in your inventory you have much more accurately. Now, because I had the Morytania hard diary, I pretty much got a full inventory with only using 17 prayer points, but even if you had to use double that, that's still not too bad. From here, simply teleport back to Castle Wars, or alternatively, if you don't have a chapel, you could also use Clan Wars. Bank your fungus, teleport back to your house. You could use a chapel at 50 construction or an ornate rejuvenation pool, and then from there go back to Krill. This method is very simple and can earn you around 500k per hour. However, if Mormyre fungus ever goes up in price, this method becomes even more viable, sometimes reaching 1 mil per hour. Now before I go here, I want to give a massive shout out to another new Dragon tier member by the name of Brian Robinson. Thank you so much. You are the 8th person to subscribe to that tier currently. You guys are crazy. Joining Zach Stoppa, Cappy, Zayul, James Loved, Brad Sings, Ocelot, and Kush Patel. Also a big shout out to Birdbot and Base Stitch for subscribing at the Runite tier. As always, if you guys are looking for another way to support the channel, it would mean a lot, and you'll get access to my video release schedule, get immortalized in my videos, and get a custom Discord role. Anyway guys, thanks again, and I'll see you next time.